Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Puri Rajakacharya Astotar Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi Ki Jai Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande, Hari Haribo, Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone to Sri Caitanya Charitamrita with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Thursday, April 17th, 2025 in New York, and today we're starting with Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi-lila, Chapter 13, text number 66. And please, anyone who would like to read or comment, please let me know in the chat window so that we can proceed happily. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tanra Sange Anandakare Vaishnavera Gana. Krishna Kata Krishna Puja Nama Sankirtana. In the house of Advaita Acharya, all the Vaishnavas took pleasure in always talking of Krishna, always worshipping Krishna, and always chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. On these principles only does the Krishna consciousness movement go on. We have no business other than to talk of Krishna, worship Krishna, and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna. I could go on unless Maharaj has something he'd like to say on this.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarani. Well, there's our core mission in one sentence. Talk of Krishna, worship Krishna, and chant the Hare Krishna mantra. If we stick to these principles, then everything will be glorious. Anything else is just meant to support this. Hare Krishna.
Jai Maharaj, thank you, Hare Krishna. 67. Kintu sarva loka deki Krishna bahir mukha Vishaye nimagna loka deki paya dukha. But Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu felt pained to see all the people without Krishna consciousness, simply merging in material sense enjoyment. A bona fide devotee of Lord Krishna is always pained to see the fallen condition of the whole world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, "There is no scarcity of anything within this world. The only scarcity is of Krishna consciousness." That is the vision of all pure devotees. Because of this lack of Krishna consciousness in human society, people are suffering terribly, being merged in an ocean of nescience and sense gratification. The devotee onlooker is very much aggrieved to see such a situation in the world. Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada said on the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in 1968, he's speaking about Vaishnavas. He quoted Vanchakalpatarubhyascha. Then he said, because they love Krishna or God, therefore they love all living entities, because all living entities are in relationship with Krishna. So similarly, you should learn. This Krishna consciousness movement means to become Vaishnava and feel for the suffering humanity. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, would you like to say something?
This Prahlad Maharaj's prayer comes to mind. Of course, he's worshiping with Lord Nrsingadev and saying, I have no problem, but I'm simply sorry to see those who've turned their faces away from you and are suffering in an illusory happiness. And devotee feels this. In the beginning, maybe just out of obedience, we go out, distribute books, we go out and chant. But when a devotee is a little mature, then he feels sorry to see how people are wasting their lives and suffering.
Praveen Krishna Prabhu has a question here. We may understand that people are suffering for lack of Krishna consciousness, but how do we feel the, quote, pain of their sufferings?
That's called empathy. By comparison to our own selves, we know that what it would be like for us to suffer that way. We have some idea. And so we feel sorry. If a child is undergoing pain, then the parents feel the pain of the child. It's not literal, but it's by empathy that we feel. If I were in that situation, atmopam yena sarvatra, samam pashyati arjuna sukham yadivadukam yogi paramo. By comparison, we know what it's like to be pricked by a pin. So if someone else is pricked by a pin, you feel sorry. We have some empathy. We know how we were suffering before coming in touch with Krishna consciousness, and so we feel feel sorry for others. We feel, the expression is, I feel your pain, and it's usually a superficial platitude, but a devotee actually feels like if your son is suffering, or you're someone close to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. As you were speaking, Maharaj, I was thinking how typical it is for a living entity that once he stops feeling pain, he forgets it, and he forgets what causes the pain, just as the whole saga of the embryo in the womb is narrated. As soon as the living entity comes out of that terrible suffering condition, he just forgets and he goes on with his thing, his life. So when Praveen Krishna Prabhu asks that question, how do we feel the pain of their sufferings? It may be that we often may forget the pain we ourselves were feeling. And that's, to me, that can be a form of us being covered by Maya. That we should understand where we came from. We should understand the suffering condition that we've been elevated out of.
Yeah, this is how a devotee feels. This is the qualification of devotees. He feels compassion, he feels empathy, he feels sorry for those who are suffering. Of course, he's not a fool. You know, your cat died, and so the devotee, oh, I'm so sorry that your cat died, and oh, that's terrible. And no, come on, it's a stupid cat. You're just identifying with just extending your love to some creature that, and because it's born and dies. Even Krishna, he wasn't sympathetic. Arjuna's crying, and Arjuna's crying, and Krishna's prasaniva. He's almost laughing because he sees that this is all nonsense. It's all illusion. But still, Krishna is sympathetic, so he's instructing Arjuna to free him from that illusory lamentation, Arjuna Vishad. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Something more in the chat here. Being Krishna Prabhu adds, oh yes, I'm reading the same thing in Lilamrita just now. Naivod vijay para duratyaya vaitaranyas tvadvirya gayana mahamrita magnachita shochetato vimukha chetasa indriyarta maya sukhaya bharang udvahato vimudhan. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence. For wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I'm simply concerned with love for them. Yeah.
And this is what they think is advancement, to maintain your family, to maintain your society, to protect your country. This is what life is for, and they're missing the actual purpose.
When Prabhupada visited Mexico City in 1975, that was a major recurring theme of his talks, and he was only there for 8 days on that trip. But he said there, people in general, they're exactly like madmen. Simply for sense gratification, they're working so hard day and night. So devotees are very sorry to see their plight. Prahlad Maharaj said that I am very sorry for these persons. And then he quotes the verse that Praveen Krishna Prabhu posted just now. Hare Krishna.
Want to read? Okay, Philip, read a little.
68. Lokera nishtara hetu karya chintana kematehe saba lokera haibatarana. Seeing the condition of the world, he began to think seriously of how all these people could be delivered from the clutches of Maya. Krishna avatari karena bhaktira vishtara tabeta sakala lokera haiba nishtara. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu thought, if Krishna himself appears in order to distribute the cult of devotional service, then only will liberation be possible for all people. Purport. Just as a condemned person can be relieved by a special favor of the chief executive head, the president or king, so the condemned people of this Kali Yuga can be delivered only by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, or a person especially empowered for this purpose. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu desired that the Supreme Personality of Godhead advent himself to deliver the fallen souls of this age. Interesting, I heard Prabhupada say to one of his disciples, I think they were asking about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he said he could have done all of this himself. He's Vaishnava, he's all powerful, but he left some service for us. And I see Advaita Acharya Prabhu calling out to Krishna, and I kind of find that interesting. How does that work? The Acharyas have all this power and they leave service for those in front of them. I was wondering what Prabhupada's statement meant, and this kind of made me think of that as well.
Yeah, the context was that the devotee made was Vishnu Jan Maharaj asked Prabhupada, what does it mean that Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that I'm leaving this world, my work unfinished? And then that's when Prabhupada said that he kindly left something for you to do. He was Vaishnava, he could have done everything. So that's there. But on one side, there's some work for us to do. On the other side, Advaita Acharya felt overwhelmed. I can't do this. So you'll have to come. You'll have to come. There's both both feelings are valid, that, all right, there's something that's here for me to do, but also the feeling that I can't, that this is impossible. Krishna will have to come and do it. And Advaitacharya was in the position where he could see that. He could see that Krishna will have to come. Things are too. And also, it's understood that this was Krishna's plan, but Advaitacharya was seeing this is what needs to happen.
There's something I was thinking about. Sometimes I catch myself complaining about problems. But when I hear this, it's almost like, oh, a problem is an opportunity for me to do some service left behind for me by someone who is more capable.
Yeah. He's given us service to kindness. There's a question. I see a raised hand.
Yes, two things. Saraswati Mata, please go ahead.
Namaskaram, Puji Maharaj, and all the Vaishnavas. I was reading about the pastime which showed the greatest compassion exhibited by Vasudev Datta, who asked that all conditional souls be liberated in the universe and their sins be transferred to him. But what I found a little bit puzzling is that in the purport it said, if one universe is vacated due to the conditional souls being liberated, it's not a very big thing for Krishna. He won't take it seriously. And I was thinking, yes, don't really mean to be rude. It might not be such a big deal for Krishna, but for that conditional soul who's received that mercy of that pure devotee, that's a very big deal. I don't know what Maharaj's thoughts are on that, because it seemed like it was sort of minimized, that.
I'd have to look at the purport and see. You're paraphrasing, which is fine, but if I'm going to comment on what was said, I should see the original. Do you have a reference?
I'll look that up. Thank you.
Okay. I have a general sense of what's there, but I'd rather comment on the text itself.
While you're looking that up, Mataji, Ross Prabhu.
We go back to
Yeah, Ross Prabhu says, Hare Krishna, how is a mature devotee's intense concern with suffering humanity compatible with the devotee's desire to serve Krishna? Is Krishna in the center of their mood there?
Yes, definitely. That Krishna, in one purport, Prabhupada said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was feeling sorry for the plight he was feeling anxiety. How will these conditioned souls be delivered? And so Prabhupada said that we should try to relieve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of his anxiety by spreading the Hare Krishna mantra, by spreading Krishna consciousness. So it's Krishna who's concerned for the welfare of the conditioned souls. It's not that he doesn't give a hoot. It's only the devotees who care. Krishna feels that. What is in the Bhagavad Gita? Parshyantam mam shariras tam vidyasura nishchayan. It's described how the demonic torture themselves. They do these ghastly vows and tapasyas, torturing themselves for some material gain. And Krishna says they're torturing me within. So what does that mean? It's not that he's affected directly by their fasting or their fastening hooks to their bodies or something, but he feels sorry. He has empathy for them. Exactly what we were talking about. The parent feels sorry that the child is suffering. So when the devotees are spreading Krishna consciousness, when they're trying to deliver the conditioned souls, they're carrying out the will of Krishna. Why does Krishna descend to this world? Why does Krishna provide the Vedic literature. It's so that the conditioned souls can be delivered. So the devotees are serving the will of Krishna by trying to help them. And especially in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very much concerned to distribute Krishna consciousness in the Kali Yuga. So the devotees serve in this way. It's not separate from Krishna's desire. And therefore, the devotees are not philanthropists. They don't branch out to trying to make this a better world by doing all sorts of things for community upliftment or what have you. They're directly concerned with bringing people back to Krishna, because that's Krishna's desire. Krishna's not desiring that they have, they live in a better apartment or whatever. He's desiring that they can come back to him. Okay, we've got a verse reference. Is that okay?
Maharaj, I'm wondering how to understand Prahlad Maharaj's prayers here that Praveen Krishna Prabhu wrote in light of what you just said.
Hold on just 1 second. Yeah. Tell me again. Ross.
Yeah, I'm wondering how to understand Prahlad Maharaj's prayers and that of Vasudev in light of what you just said, because they have this understanding of that Krishna wants these souls to be saved, and they're also saying that they're concerned for the fools and rascals as well.
Yeah, so this all fits together. Krishna wants them delivered, and Vasudev Dutt and Prahlad Maharaj want them delivered. Krishna and the Vaishnavas, they want the conditioned souls to be delivered because they have compassion, pity for the sorry state of those who've turned away from Krishna. So this is all in a straight line. Okay. Madhya 3:15. $15 and 174. I don't understand. Is it 3:15 or is it 3:174? I don't understand the numbers here.
It looks like, Maharaj, she's saying that verse 174 and verses 177 through 179.
Yeah, I was just looking at what the 15 was. Okay. 3:170, Madhya 3:174.
I see.
Something wrong here. This 174 is about going to Vrindavan. Something's wrong in the numbers here. They don't match up.
She's saying chapter 15.
Oh, Madhya 3, is that volume 3 or something? Okay. It's Madhya 15, 174. Yeah, okay. All right. You have to move back a little bit. Okay, give me one moment. Could you go to the other verses also? It's not that Krishna doesn't care about the living entities in a particular universe. What's it to me? But rather, it's saying essentially the opposite, that if the living entities of one small universe are lit, because Vasudev Dutt says, let them all be liberated, all the souls in the universe. And here it said, what's that to Krishna? He can, he'll hardly feel it. It's huge, the extent of the universe. So it's nothing for him to allow those living entities to be liberated. Let me just see again. Because of your honest desire, all the living entities within the universe will be delivered. For Krishna does not have to do anything to deliver all the living entities of the universe. So that's essentially saying your desire, what you're asking for, is a small thing. Krishna can, he hardly has to lift a finger for that. So it's not, yeah, let me go back, see what your original question was. But that's the idea, that it's just a small, a small concession from Krishna to liberate all the living beings. That's what you desire, all the living beings in the universe. Yes, that we can easily do. That seems to be the immediate purport.
And
Thank you, Maharaj. I was just going to say but to a conditional soul that's being liberated. That's everything. That's not insignificant. That's like everything to that conditional soul that's being liberated by the mercy of a pure devotee. I don't know. I just thought that it was sort of minimizing,
Like a king. The king is there sitting in his court. He has so many great affairs of state, and he receives a petition from someone. Could you please spare my father, who's been condemned to do this? And the king just, gestures, and that's it. Nothing for the king to forgive that one person's offense. He just, yes. It's nothing for him because he has so many, great responsibilities and so on. So for Krishna, it's a small thing. Then the example is given that this tree has so many fruits. A particular tree, the Urumbara tree, has millions of fruits. If one falls down and it's destroyed, the tree doesn't think, oh, I've lost a fruit here. It's a small thing. So for Krishna to free all the living entities in one universe, that's a small thing for Krishna. How great Krishna is. And also how great, how many universes there are in the creation. So for Krishna to fulfill the devotee's desire, it's not hard for him. He can do it in a moment.
Is that verse also downplaying liberation?
No. The liberation being asked for is, let them go back to Godhead, essentially. Let them become Krishna conscious, not let them merge with the impersonal Brahma. Vasudev Dutt wouldn't ask for that. So it's not downplaying liberation. It's just saying essentially Krishna is so great that he can easily do this. For him to, grant liberation to one universe's worth of living. The universe is like a mustard seed in a bag of mustard seeds. It's a small thing for Krishna, so he can do it. Yes. Yes.
Ross Prabhu says, Mahare Krishna Maharaj, I heard from a devotee once that every living entity on the planet during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got some type of liberation, and this universe got cleared out of all the souls. Is something like that accurate?
Yes, it's there in Chaitanya Charita. You know where that is, Kendra? It is there. Yes, it is accurate. I'd have to go back and search it up, but yes.
Ross Prabhu, would you like to read a verse or two until we get to a purport?
Oh, before Ross begins reading, I had one small thought, kind of in the same line of what we were discussing. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Guru Dasa Jayadvaita Swaminiti Namini. This concept of Lokera Haibe Nistar in the verse we just read, in yoga circles especially, there's a very popular chant, Loka Samastu Sukhino Bhavantu, let everyone in the world be happy, and kind of in line with Ross Prabhu's question, it's like, what is that happiness? A lot of people have an idea that there's not any hierarchy of happiness, mundane welfare work and spirituality, it's all kind of on the same platform. And so the welfare work that Prahlad Maharaj and Vasudev Dutt are engaged in is not mundane welfare work, but liberating people from material inebrieties, as Srila Prabhupada would say. That verse popped into my head, Loka Samastu Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. It's kind of a silly phrase thrown about without actually, it's lip service without the actual spiritual practice of chanting Hare Krishna.
It's there, Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu. But your point is there, let them be happy. Maya Sukhaya, let them enjoy sense gratification and be happy. But a devotee doesn't think that way. I'll let them be happy in the illusion. Let them get real happiness. Good point.
And Venkatesh Prabhu says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, since it seems that the material world will exist eternally, with many, many conditioned souls coming all the time, is it that the anxiety of Krishna and his pure devotees is also eternal?
Yes. Yeah, they're Nitya Baddha, they're forever conditioned, and Krishna always feels sympathy for them.
Jai. Are we on text 70 now? Is that where we left off?
Yes.
Okay.
Krishna avatarite acharya pratigya karya Krishna puja kare tulasi ganga jala diya. Translation. With this consideration, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, promising to cause Lord Krishna to descend, began to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, with tulasi leaves and water of the Ganges. Purport. Tulasi leaves and Ganges water, with, if possible, a little pulp of sandalwood, is sufficient paraphernalia to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatat mana. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Following this principle, Advaita Prabhu pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead with tulasi leaves and water of the Ganges.
Maharaj, would you like to comment on this?
Not much to add, except that we see just simple, he doesn't need to, order a crate full of stuff from someplace for puja or for sacrifice. or set up elaborate arrangements, just Ganga Jal and Tulsi leaves, and his earnest feelings, his earnest devotion for the Lord and earnest feelings for the conditioned souls. That's the essence of it. And the Sankirtan movement is like that. We don't need a lot of paraphernalia, a lot of stuff. If there are sincere devotees chanting Hare Krishna, that's the essence of the thing, not elaborate paraphernalia and so on. Sometimes we may have some fancy paraphernalia to attract people, but the essence is one's sincere, intense desire. Prabhupada was the example. He came to America and he didn't have paraphernalia, just had not even a mridanga, but he had this intense desire to give people Krishna consciousness.
Venkatesh Prabhu extends his question about the eternal anxiety of Krishna for the suffering humanity. He says, isn't it too difficult for them to carry the anxiety all the time? I would want a difficulty to be over and relax afterwards.
Krishna, what is the difficulty to everything?
And Ras Prabhu says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, to what extent did Prabhupada want us to go all out for fancy stuff for deity worship?
Well, that could be a whole discussion. He wanted the deities to be dressed nicely. Of course, his emphasis was on two things, cleanliness and punctuality. He wanted us to go all out for that, especially. The other things could be appreciated. First of all, punctuality, cleanliness, and adherence. Those before going all out for paraphernalia. Don't concoct. That was Prabhupada's big theme with the deity worship. Don't invent your own ideas of how to worship the deities. Just do the thing in the standard way. Don't invent things. Don't concoct things. He was continually hammering on that point. But then, of course, he appreciated what are the main, what paraphernalia do you really want for deity worship? Profuse flowers, ideally with nice scent to them. Tulsi, Prabhupada was very much pleased when Govindadasi succeeded in growing Tulsi plants. So Tulsi leaves, flowers, then nice food cooked with devotion to offer to the Lord. These things especially. Then nice dress, but it didn't, in Prabhupada's time even, it didn't have to be, big expenditure, sending away to India for this, that. Even the devotees would sew nice dresses for the deities. Prabhupada would appreciate very much. And from one point of view, the dress made by the devotees themselves have special devotional value. But then, of course, whatever paraphernalia, it should be clean. That was more important to Prabhupada than, what was the paraphernalia. If there's silver paraphernalia or it's brass paraphernalia, it may be, but it should be clean, not dirty silver, dirty brass, dirty this, dirty that. But the paraphernalia should be clean. One might be, a simple Brahmin in a little hut someplace worshiping the deity, but everything should be neat and clean, as Prabhupada would say. The paraphernalia may be very simple, but it should be clean. That Shuchi, Bhayabhyantara Shuchi, that was more important to Prabhupada than elaborate paraphernalia. I can't remember an instruction where he says, go out there and get the most elaborate this and that and this and that. It should be nice and impressive. People should see that the deity is nicely decorated. He was in general against gold and diamonds and those things because they invite thieves. Ideally, the deity should be dressed with silver and gold and precious stones and so on. But if you do that, then thieves will come, and there'll be genuine threat to the welfare of the whole setup, and the deity itself, deity himself may be inconvenienced. So that he didn't want us to go in that direction. A lot of super precious stuff to be stolen. But nice flowers, tulsi, water collected cleanly, nice dress, everything done in an authorized fashion and done with devotion. Because whatever your paraphernalia, if the devotion isn't there, then Krishna is not going to be interested. That incident is there that Bahulashva and Shrutadev, Krishna was traveling with some sages, and he received 2 invitations, one from King Bahulashva and one from a Brahmin, Shrutadev. They both invited Krishna to come to their place, and so that they could serve him. And Krishna accepted both invitations, and the sages also expanded themselves in 2 and accepted both invitations so they could go to both places simultaneously. And it's described how the king Bahulashva, he had, huge arrangements in the court for Krishna's pleasure, and dancers and singers and opulent food and, super everything. But he was a pure devotee, so Krishna accepted everything with great pleasure. The king used everything he had, and Krishna accepted it. And on the other side, Bahulashva had just a little hut, and he offered sitting places, like little grass mats for Krishna and the sages. And for the dancing part, he and his wife just danced in front of Krishna, sort of tossing their chatters above their heads. And they offered Krishna very simple home-cooked food, whatever was available. And Krishna was equally pleased. Krishna and the sages were equally pleased because it wasn't the paraphernalia that Krishna was attracted to. Prabhupada said Krishna doesn't need your rice dal and chapatis. Lakshmi Sahasra Satasam Brahma Sevyamana. But he's attracted by the pure devotion. So that was the thing for Prabhupada. Not so much grand paraphernalia, but everything done with cleanliness, with devotion, and in an authorized way. And paraphernalia could be appreciated. Sometimes we introduce things that, don't get me started, but there's a name for it, that helmet that's touched to the heads of the devotees. In Prabhupada's time, this was never done. It's introduced from the Ramanuja Sampradaya, where it has very particular significance, and devotees who just imported it would probably approve, maybe. Maybe he'd appreciate it, but it's not something you'll see no pictures of Prabhupada in an ISKCON temple with this being done. It didn't exist in Prabhupada's time. Yes.
Shatari, Prabhu Krishna.
Shatari. Yes.
Extending what you're saying, Maharaj, Marai Gupta Prabhu said.
And Lakshmi conscious. That's another one while we're at it. The temples at some point all went on a binge of buying Lakshmi conscious because they're auspicious, and putting them on the altar. It seems that all the conchas go in one way. I forget whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise, and the Lakshmi conch is a rare conch that goes the other way. And so devotees with great, what's the word? Diligence sought out these rare, auspicious Lakshmi conchas to offer, to put on their altars, and found them. The merchants were ready to oblige with auspicious Lakshmi conchas, which were actually whelks. A whelk is another kind of shell resembling in some ways a conch shell, which always goes in the opposite direction. And so now we have these Lakshmi whelks on our altars every place, creating auspiciousness. And it's essentially a mental concoction. So, we introduce new paraphernalia. Cleanliness, sticking to the parampara system, doing everything with devotion. Those are the main things. Yes.
Marai Gupta Prabhu says, Jananivas Prabhu told me that Srila Prabhupada said, for Jagannath, there is no limit to the opulence, indicating to me that for Radha Krishna and Gaur Nitai, it wasn't a priority.
I don't know if that's what Jananivas Prabhu meant, but certainly, yes, there's no limit to the opulence, how much food he can eat in a day. And yes, we can dress the Lord opulently, and multiple changes of dress in the day, and so many things. I don't know that means that Radha Krishna should be less opulently dressed. Radha Krishna worship in our line means Lakshmi Narayan. So Lakshmi Narayana worshipped very gorgeously also. Accepting that Prabhupada said that about Lord Jagannath, I'm not quite sure that we can deduce from that he meant, well, you can take it easy on Radha Krishna. The very informal, simple Radha Krishna worship is really meant for the advanced devotees. Sanatana Goswami was hanging his deity on the tree and just offering some bhati, what do they call it? Just some chapati dough fried and baked. Really, I don't think he had ghee to fry it. In fact, that's what it is. It's baked, and hardly any salt. So the deity was complaining. But that's on the high level. The devotee at our level, we shouldn't think, well, it's just my pure devotion that Krishna is interested in, so I'll just offer him, the minimum. Our deity worship is meant to be done with opulence. It's meant to be done with opulence, and particularly flowers. Actually, Prabhupada, and he didn't like plastic. Sometimes we see that the deities worship with plastic flowers. Prabhupada didn't appreciate that. Even if I recall, he said that, just even fresh leaves is better than plastic flowers. And of course, real flowers. And sometimes our advisors, who are not, sort of core members of ISKCON, but who are pious and business-like, they look at our budget and they say, well, you can cut the flower budget. You're spending so much on flowers. And, just cut it. Because they look at it and say, what's the point of this? But the devotees think that no, Krishna should be offered nice flowers. And of course, it doesn't mean that, we break the bank and we're happy that we've just spent everything on flowers. There does have to be financial discipline. But it's not that flowers are a waste of money. They're for Krishna's pleasure.
Going back a bit to the topic of the previous verse, Saraswati Mata says, as Sri Advaita Acharya is also an incarnation of Mahavishnu, the Vishnu Tattva, and also able to accomplish everything that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could. But is he acknowledging here that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an avatari, so has unlimited potency in distributing Krishna Prema in the mood of Goloka?
Well, that's of course a lot to read into the verse, but that is Advaita Acharya's mood. That there's a verse, I'm a servant of Lord Chaitanya, servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya, and a servant of his servants. So that's Advaita Acharya's mood. He's not in the mood of, I'm Mahavishnu, I can do everything. Millions of universes come from me. He takes the mood of being his servant, even as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He doesn't take the mood of, I'm the origin of everything, Aham Sarvasya Prabhuvo. He takes the mood of being the servant of Krishna. And Advaita Acharya takes the mood of being servant of the servant. Servant of that servant.
Jai. We are at the top of the hour, and I wanted to see whether Philip Prabhu would like to lead us in Kirtan, Maharaj, if you
Would
wanted.
you like to lead us in Kirtan?
Okay.
Okay, he's willing.
Could you turn on your original sound for musicians, Maharaj?
I will. Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Sattva Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you, Philip Prabhu, for our kirtan. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here. And Sri Caitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all again. Hare Krishna.